Hey there, everybody. Welcome back. I'm the Fanatic, and in today's episode, we're talking about something a little bit sad. We're talking about Nikola Jokic, and he's been having arguably the greatest single season of all time, and it seems like nobody wants to talk about it. And that's a problem, you know? Because, we're talking about a man that's averaging 26, 13, 6.5, and if that doesn't do it for you because maybe you say, hey, those aren't the best stats of all time because you've got a lot of Wilt Chamberlain in there, then let's look at some of the efficiency stats. His PER is the highest of all time, not by a small margin either. It's by about 4. Then his offensive blocks plus minus is second highest of all time. Then, for people that say that Nikola Jokic can't play defense, Nikola Jokic has the second highest defensive blocks plus minus of all time this season. So not only are his stats amazing for the era he plays in, for the team he plays on, especially considering all of the fact that they're managing to win with Nikola Jokic, which shouldn't be possible with this Denver squad because everyone else is gone. We're talking about a Nuggets team here that the Pistons could beat if Nikola Jokic wasn't playing. Let's be honest here. With all the injuries they've had, with the way that Nikola Jokic has continued to be Nikola Jokic, and he's continuing to be one of the most efficient players of all time, because this isn't the first time we said it either. Because we were talking about last year, Nikola Jokic was having one of the most efficient seasons of all time, and now he decided to actually have the most efficient season of all time. He's the highest player that you'll find on both of those single season lists, because it's not like there was somebody that was highest in offensive box plus minus and defensive box plus minus and had 30 points a game and 15 rebounds and 10. It just didn't happen. This is the closest that we're ever getting to something like that. This is the closest to Wilt Chamberlain's dominance we've seen in 50 years. And we're not going to be seeing it again anytime soon once Nikola's gone. So we really need to take a moment to appreciate what's going on in Denver. We need to take a moment to appreciate that a man without any help whatsoever, because his team is completely destroyed and ravaged, has taken it upon himself to not only win them games, but to win them games where it's borderline impossible. Because in order to win the games they're winning, Nikola Jokic essentially not only has to be the best player in the league, he has to be arguably the greatest player of all time. Am I telling you Nikola Jokic is the greatest player of all time? No, I'm not. Is he certainly the most underrated player of all time? Yes. The fact that he only has one MVP shows that. I'm joking about that bit. He's going to have 2 after this season, and we're not talking about that. You compare him to guys like Steph Curry, and sure, maybe Steph's team is winning more, but if Nikola Jokic has his teammates back, we're talking about Steph. The difference between the Warriors being really good right now and then adding Klay Thompson is they become really good on top of that. The difference is that when Jamal Murray comes back and when you have Michael Porter Jr. and you have all these guys on the floor, we're looking at a Denver Nuggets roster where it's just as scary as your Warriors, if not scarier. And then you look at everybody on the Nuggets roster is either in or entering their prime. Nikola Jokic is showing what prime is right now. He's taking it upon himself to take every notion we have about basketball and flip it on its head. And the icing on the cake that just really ties it all together is the only reason why people don't think that Nikola Jokic is the clear MVP, even though he clearly is, or that he isn't the best player in the league. Their only real reasoning is A, because his team just isn't number 1 seed, which, I mean, sure. That's the problem with the league voting nowadays. and just period. It's just so narrative driven. And it just doesn't make sense because Jokic is showing such dominance like Wilt Chamberlain was in his 50-point per game season, and that's the way it's going to end up. You're going to have a player where they're being so dominant and just clearly, statistically, and through every measure of basketball being the best player in the league, and then we decide to give it to someone else purely because we like them more. And that's really just a sad thing. Especially with, he's not going to have as many voters because he's in Denver, and Denver's not a huge market, and another big thing that detracts from him, like, his style of play just doesn't attract fans, and that's not good for business, and the only reason why Nikola Jokic won't get his respect is because people don't like to watch him. And, like, it doesn't make much sense because he's clearly the best basketball player in the league, but we don't appreciate him because we don't like the way he plays. But that's something that we did to Curry for a long while, and something we did to James Harden for a long while. And it really just makes you sad to look back on it. Maybe in the moment people aren't going to be too terribly invested in it, but definitely looking back and statistically speaking, when we're looking at stuff like this like 10 years from now, it's going to be really sad to see. Anyway, that's it for this video. If you enjoyed, please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and I'm out.